Hey everyone, it's Nick Geo, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I was denied at a second round interview for a high school science teacher position and what it means for me going forward. This happened about 45 minutes ago. The science department chair, she called me just to give me the news, and I could tell right off the bat, kind of, that if you receive a phone call as opposed to an email when you were waiting for another round of interview, it's probably not a good thing because it's hard to schedule a time for a interview if it's a phone call, but with an email, department chair could send out a link in terms of, okay, click on which times you're available, or just click one of these times, which she did for the first round interview through a Survey Monkey. So I kind of knew when I answered the phone that it probably wasn't good. And she luckily said some feedback to me in terms of why I wasn't moving forward. The first part of the feedback was that I didn't have any experience with storylining, which is a teaching method. I told her in the interview, because she asked it, that I had heard and learned about it during my fall class. Storylining is this teaching method where you use a kind of like a unit long story to teach a lot of concepts. So one storyline in biology is Africa. So in Africa, you can talk about the ecology there, you can talk about the animals, how they behave, you can talk about evolution and stuff like that. And you teach a lot within the story of Africa. And I thought that I was fine because I had heard it, but she said that other candidates have had experience with storylining, and her high school, their science departments, the science classes there, are doing a lot of storylining, which I think is still kind of a relatively rare thing for schools to be doing. It's kind of like a subset. The second one was probably more revealing and maybe more of a thing that's caused an epiphany in me. And she said that other candidates compared to me have more teaching experience, which that's obvious. I have only been a student teacher and I don't have a lot of other experience with high schoolers besides in the past I've tutored high schoolers, which I talked about, but I knew that I'm always kind of at a disadvantage because there are other candidates who have been teaching for a couple years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So, and if they did well at their previous jobs, then that seems like a very much a leg up. And it made me realize overall, I applied to about 15 high schools and I've only had three schools that I've done interviews for. So I'm thinking that my lack of experience probably caused me to not get a lot of other interviews with those 12 schools that didn't even reach out to me. It's probably something where it's because I lacked experience. And this is the part that it kind of makes sense now going through my applications and what I thought of, because I went to a good college, Northwestern. I am smart. I've done pretty well at the interviews, and I have other experiences that I thought were good in terms of substitute teaching for 3 years and tutoring and volunteering and all those things. So, kind of makes sense that the lack of teaching experience is what is holding me back, because other than that, I have great GPAs and I thought I was going to get something. But it's a catch 22, which I actually read that book last year, and catch 22 is something where it's you do one thing one way and that screws you, and if you do it the other way it screws you also. So with this, I don't have any teaching experience, so it's hard to land a job. But to gain teaching experience, I need to land a job. And that's the part that upsets me, and it makes me wonder what I should be doing. And I think this is making me realize that I am still doing the right things in terms of going after the endorsement to teach chemistry, the endorsement to teach physics, because I'm hoping having 3 endorsements compared to maybe other candidates who only have 1. I hope that boosts me over them if they have more experience, because I'm more versatile in case there are physics openings or chemistry openings, or a school might want someone who can do biology and chemistry, which is pretty common, I've seen in the applications. And I think having that versatility will help me in the future, and I should have those done by this fall. In terms of gaining experience, I still want to substitute teach in the next school year at a high school, well, 2 high schools in a school district near where I live. And although I do question, is that good experience, quote unquote? Should I be maybe trying to teach high school, say in Chicago at a charter school? Should I try for a religious school and teach there? I'm not really sure. I would say those are probably better options, but at the same time, the idea of, for example, driving to Chicago and coming back, which is about 50 miles round trip each day, doesn't appeal to me. And I think that I'll just be better in the future, and I should get more interviews. And I think eventually I'll land at a position that is good for me. I think that I'm going to be a better candidate for sure by the end of this year. So I hope that I land something either for January or for the next school year, because it seems like this was my last chance at having a fall job in terms of being a teacher. But it does suck that I couldn't land this job, because it hurts me financially, because I don't know when I'll be able to substitute teach if schools don't open right away in August or early September. Career wise, this delays things, and like I said, it means that I won't have as good of experience to put on my resume as if I landed a job for the fall. And I think a huge goal for me is trying to save up enough money to move out of my parents' house. And I don't know when that's going to be, because it's going to happen when I land a job that pays well, but I'm not sure when that's going to be. So this was kind of a more of a sadder video, but with anything that happens to my life, if it's sad, if it's good, if it's bad, I always just try to learn from it. So from this, I think I learned, okay, I'm at a disadvantage because I have a lack of experience. So I need to make up for it, either partially gaining experience, but also doing these other things that will make me well-rounded. So that's about it. I didn't know I was going to make this video until 45 minutes ago. I was kind of just biding my time trying to think of a video, and then this seemed like the natural one. I was waiting on the email from her. I was looking yesterday, and it happened today because the interview was on Friday. So maybe you learned something from this. Maybe you've been rejected from a college or a job or some sort of program. So if you did, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you all tomorrow. All right, take care.